on, man. It's our house, baby. Come on, let's play like it. Today is going to be the start of a new season. Let's win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
The optimistic Jeremiah Trotter. The Eagles aren't dead yet. They're on life support, hoping to get a win today against Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers. It's the NFL on Fox. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver coming up. When the schedule came out at the beginning of the season, people would circle this game and thought, well, this is going to be one of those afternoons that's going to determine so much in the NFC playoff picture. It's more significant for the guys who aren't playing today because of injuries, because of suspensions. Thinking about Terrell Owens, and I welcome in Troy Aikman as we look at the Lost Boys with all respects paid to Jason Patrick and Corey Haim. Let's talk to you about what's going on with the Eagles. A lot of injuries offensively. The offensive line, we can talk about that. How about the fact that every week we're saying, well, they need to get a win. Hey, they need to get a win here today.
Yeah, you know, for the last couple of weeks, we say in order to get back into this playoff picture, they need to win the game, and yet here we are, and that's the same case today. And you know, if they're going to win, obviously they've got to get another good performance by Mike McMahon. I think if you look back at last week's game, you know, a lot of people concerned about how he was going to be able to come in and fill in for Donovan McNabb. And although he got off to a tough start, the way he came back in the second half and really led the football team and was able to put points on the board, I think if he's able to do that today, I think this team's got a chance to come away with a win.
If you look at the start of the year, 3 guys along that offensive line are not starting today for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk more about that as we get into the game. On the other side, it's been frustratingly close for the Green Bay Packers so many times this year. 5 losses of 3 points or less. They still have to be considered dangerous.
Well, I think so, yeah. And I mean, this league right now is about winning the close games. It seems every week it's a one-possession game, and they're playing a lot of young players, as you mentioned. And with that, I think Mike Sherman has done a heck of a job of these guys coming out and playing hard each and every week. And so you combine the fact that these young players are playing hard, along with Brett Favre, who, in my opinion, has not lost much at quarterback. To me, still one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. And so with that, this could be a very dangerous football team for the Eagles today.
We'll talk to Troy about this NFC East and look at what the Eagles have to do in their upcoming schedule. And I think you don't have to be a ridiculous optimist to say that it's not over for the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid is hoping to get this team on a roll starting today. It really has to happen today to have any hope. And then you look at the division and where the Dallas Cowboys are and what the Eagles might want to have happen with the Cowboys winning the division and then take their chances the rest of the way. They have a game coming up in a couple of weeks here against the Giants. They play Washington at the end of the year. They have a date with Seattle coming up next. John Harbaugh trying to fire up the special teams for the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Green Bay Packers will start this game with the football. And that means that Donald Driver and company, kind of the last man standing at wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. There's Sam Congatto and Brett Favre, who is making his 216th consecutive start. That record of 2-8. And the Green Bay Packers have seen Favre throw 18 touchdowns, but 17 interceptions to lead the NFL in that category. Green Bay 0-7 here in Philadelphia since 1962. For the Eagles, 10 straight wins against the NFC North. And Green Bay this season, as we mentioned, 0-5 in games decided by 3 points or less. David Akers is back to kicking off. And off we go. Rashard Lee is returning kicks today for the Packers. Gets it across the 25 out to the 26. And that is where the 19th ranked offense for the Green Bay Packers will set up shop. Brett Favre, there is his consecutive start streak continuing here today, number 216. And it's almost impossible, Troy, to talk about this Packers team and understand that they can't run the football this year, which is something they've hung their hat on the last 2 years.
And a combination of reasons for that. Obviously, the changes that have been made along the offensive line, also because of the injuries at running back.
Tony Fisher starts at tailback and drops the ball on his first chance. That's why Gatto's not in there. because he's fumbled 3 times since taking over at running back. Fisher gets the start, his second start of the season, and he drops it on the first handoff.
Yeah, they try to run just a safe shovel pass, and Tony Fisher, he just never really got his hands on it. I mean, he was in his pocket, but he just was unable to bring it in. It looked like he tried to start running with it prior to having possession.
So Gatto starts the day on the bench. Fisher is in the backfield on 2nd down and 10. Favre sets up. It's batted at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. Hollis Thomas got his hand up and knocked it down. It's 3rd and 10, and we look at the defense. And as we talked about a week ago at the Giants, the defensive line has been the root of some of the problems defending for this Philadelphia Eagles team. They're getting something, though, the last 3 games out of Trent Cole, who has picked it up and is making his 2nd consecutive start. 3rd and 10. Clifton moved too early. That'll be 5 yards and make it 3rd and 15. And he's the guy across from Trent Cole.
Ball start, 76, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Well, Coleman is our referee today, and it's Clifton, the veteran tackle. They've got 3 7th-round draft picks along their offensive line: Wells, Whitaker, and Tauscher. Favre fires the pass out of the reach of Chapman, with Sheldon Brown on his back, and it's time for a punt from the Packers.
You know, we saw earlier Chad Clifton moving a little bit early, and it's going to be a pretty good matchup because of the way that Trent Cole is playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Chad Clifton, one of the better left tackles in the National Football League, does a good job here, and Brett Favre had time to throw the football.
Here's a punt from B.J. Sander, and it's Westbrook trying to light a fire for the Eagles. Nice return. Westbrook down inside the 40. 17-yard return by Brian Westbrook. I don't know if you caught that score that flashed across in the Fox box, but the Washington Redskins just lost. They missed a chance toward the end of regulation when John Hall pushed a game-winning field goal try wide right. They lose 23-17 to San Diego, and that means that the Redskins are now under 500. And they let that one slip away.
And a big game this afternoon between the Giants and Seahawks as far as how that's going to impact the NFC East.
McMahon. Westbrook gets 12 and a first down. JB.
Back to Joe Buck.
0-4 against the AFC West are your Redskins, JB. Here's a first down. McMahon rolling, throwing, completing down inside the 20 to Billy McMullen, a gain of 7. And we look at the offense, and up front, really for the entire offense, Troy, you've got to focus on this offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the changes at the entire left side there with Jamal Jackson and Adrian Clark and then Todd Herremans. And, you know, Sean Andrews, he was banged up this week as well. There was some speculation that he may not be able to go. John Runyon really being the ringleader for that offensive front. But we'll have to keep our eye on how those young players, especially on that left side, do.
Ryan Moats, a 3rd-round pick from Louisiana Tech, gets it for the first time this season. In the arms of Aaron Kempman, he goes down after a gain of 1. Look at the defense for Green Bay. They come in 10th in the NFL. Colin Cole has played his way into a starting role up front for the Pack.
Colin Cole, he's been extremely impressive, and yeah, he's getting the start here today in place of Colin Jenkins. Not a reflection on Colin Jenkins, just more along the lines of how well Colin Cole has been performing here in recent weeks. But this defensive front has been playing extremely well here in recent weeks.
3rd down and 2. Westbrook, first down. Down to the 15-yard line. Hank Fraley went on IR with a rotator cuff injury on November 9th, killing a chicken wing up in the luxury suite level.
Hank's never at a loss for an appetite, is he?
They missed him in the middle, but you know, they bring in a replacement, Jamal Jackson, who has been impressive getting his 2 starts. He makes his 3rd in a row here today. That's big number 67. Lamar Gordon gets it for the first time today and lost the football. The Green Bay Packers have recovered. Nice first possession for the Philadelphia Eagles. Stops just inside the 10-yard line as Lamar Gordon put it on the ground. We take a break. Gordon lost it. Green Bay Packers come away with it. Niall Diggs recovered for the Pack.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
The great city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania has once again opened its arms to us, welcoming us into town. Aaron Cameron was one of 2 Green Bay Packers players to get their hand on that ball and knock it away from the arms of Lamar Gordon. The turnover, and now it's Gatto taking it out to the 15-yard line, picked up 6.
Well, Aaron Cameron, he comes in and he has really been playing well here in the last 2 weeks, and he's the guy who comes in and gets his hand on the ball and knocks it loose from Lamar Gordon. The Eagles had something going very well. So take a closer look at the job, and you know, Lamar Gordon has the ball in the right pocket and secured, but Aaron Cameron able to reach in and yank it out.
It's Gatto, and it's nothing for Gatto. Lost a yard, where he's brought down by Michael Lewis. That'll bring up 3rd down and long. I want to talk about Brett Favre. He's had 13 straight years as a starter with a winning record. 1 more loss will end that streak, and that's the longest streak across the NFL, 13 straight since 1970. That is the affectionate and intense Terry Bradshaw, who had 11 straight, showing his soft side to us, and Warren Moon had 11 straight. 3rd down and 5. Favre sets up quickly and throws out of the reach of Driver. 4th down.
You know, I've always believed that when you're playing the Green Bay Packers, if you want to try to jump out on these guys early, that's the time to do it, because Brett Favre, he generally comes into games with his adrenaline pumping so much that it's very hard for him to calm down and complete passes early in games. He'll generally start settling in, but we've already seen a couple of throws that have gotten away from him.
Sander punts it away, and this is Mahe from the Eagles side of midfield, again down inside the 40. How'd you come into games? Fired up, down, ticked off, happy? What was it?
Well, I was pumped up too, but I was able to complete a few balls along the way.
No score. Philly has it for the 2nd time.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Bud Light. Smooth and refreshing. Bud Light. Great taste, great times.
Donovan McNabb, who's been through so much this season on so many different fronts, now for the first time in his life will experience what undergoing surgery is all about on Wednesday for that sports hernia. Never been under the knife. Here's Westbrook trying the middle and picks up 2. Let's go down and say hi for the first time today to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, with a total of 6 wins between them, it has not been an easy time for either team. But when I asked Donald Driver what it was like to go to work every day under such dismal conditions, didn't really understand the question. He says, hey, if we can win this game today, we still have a chance. Honest to goodness, y'all, he was sincere, as was Javon Kearse, when he told me that the thing Andy Reid has been preaching all week is it's the NFL, boys, and anything can happen. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thanks. It's 2nd down and 9. After this play, as McMahon throws and Westbrook wasn't ready for it. Isn't that the way, Troy, NFL players are? I mean, it's funny if you go back prior to the last few games and look at the clips and the quotes by the Eagles. We've got to win this game or we're done. And then they don't win the game, but they're still alive according to the way they look at the season. And I guess you have to play that way.
Well, but what I would say is that players are more realistic than that. And what they say to a reporter or what they say to someone in the media isn't necessarily what they say amongst themselves. I would have to believe that the Packers recognize that their season is virtually over, that they're not going to make the playoffs. You know, they would have to win their division. I don't think there's going to be a wild card team coming out of the North.
Movement along the offensive line. It may be Runyon, who today is making his 139th start.
False start, 73. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Instead, they get Sean Andrews. They could have had Runyon, who also moved. 139th start for John Runyon. For the rest of the offense, the starters combined 115 starts.
Well, and that's why it better not be Runyon with the false start. I mean, he's supposed to be the teacher today. He's got to be setting the example. He doesn't have the excuse that he hasn't played enough games.
Third down and 14. McMahon throws, and the pass is complete for a first down to L.J. Smith. 17-yard completion, a dangerous throw, and McMahon fit it in there.
You know, really good job. We're talking about John Runyon, and you know, Aaron Campman and the job that he's done. Here's John Runyon, the right tackle, and the job that Aaron Campman has done in recent weeks, getting pressure on the quarterback. And John Runyon, one of those tough veteran guys, holding him out. And because of that, it gives McMahon some time and just a perfectly thrown ball to L.J. Smith. And L.J. Smith, since Terrell Owens' absence, he's really been the guy who has stepped up and elevated his game, him along with Reggie Brown.
Runyon turns 32 today as Ryan Moats gets it for the second time today, and this season gets 5. Mentioned a third-round pick out of Louisiana Tech, and they're giving him a chance at this point in the season. Westbrook obviously dominates carrying the ball and catching the ball in this Eagles offense. Gordon's already fumbled today, so maybe a chance for Moats to do something.
Yeah, there's not too many coaches that are going to tolerate guys putting the ball on the ground. Lamar Gordon did on that first possession. He's no longer in the game. And then, of course, last week with Sam Congatto, he fumbled against Minnesota, and Mike Sherman put him on the bench as well.
That's Todd Hermans. He's making his first start, so it's okay for him.
False start, 79. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
I'm not so sure Andy would agree with that, but Juan Castillo, that's the offensive line coach, and not just this season or not just this week, but he's done a really good job over the years of getting guys prepared to play. Think back to a few weeks back when Artis Hicks came out of the game against Kansas City, and Adrian Clark, who's starting at left guard today, had to fill in, did a good job, but he spends a lot of time with those offensive linemen.
Second down and 10. That's dropped off to Westbrook, and he's got nowhere to go. Niall Diggs out there to make the stop. Only a 1-yard gain. You look at the offensive line, and there's a flag down on that last play. We'll check that. Week 1, this is how they looked. A very good offensive line. And now here today, Harriman's at left tackle, Adrian Clark at left guard, Jamal Jackson at center. The right side remains the same.
And this is a pretty good auditioning period for left tackle Todd Hermans.
Illegal shift. Offense, 2 men moving and not resetting. That penalty's declined. Third down.
You know, he's a 4th-round pick this year, and because of Trey Thomas's back injury, they're not real certain what his status is going to be when he comes back, if he's even going to be able to further his career. And John Runyon, who we've talked about, he's a free agent after this season. So Todd Hermans, in a lot of ways, is playing for a starting position, or at least how this organization is going to view that position going into this offseason.
Started the entire preseason because Trey Thomas was dealing with a blood clot issue. That is at the feet of Westbrook, and it's 4th down. They were within Akers field goal range, and they bring David onto the field to try to put the Eagles on top.
Of course, David Akers missing a number of games with the hamstring injury, and I know it's been a real difficult year for him because of that, but you know, over the years he has proven to be one of the best in the business.
Got a contract extension, certainly earned it. Actually signed him while he was injured. Tore his right hamstring. That's not his kicking leg, but his plant leg, and he tries a 44-yarder here. Saw the number 6 out of 11 field goal tries this season. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is drilled. Akers has done his thing. McMahon shaking his head a little bit over on the sideline for the Eagles. David Akers good from 44. Philly out on top.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Vitorin. By Subway. Try the new fresh toasted chicken and bacon ranch sandwich. Subway, eat fresh. By Lowe's, where improving home improvement never ends. And by Chrysler, inspiration comes standard.
David Akers will kick it away. The Packers have not been too happy with their return game on kickoffs. Rashard Lee is getting the chance today. Second time he's returned a kick. Takes it from about the 7. Lee lost the football. And the Philadelphia Eagles fight for it. It looked like they came down with the ball, but let's wait for the call. The Eagles have it.
If they weren't happy with the return team before that play, they're furious with it right now. Rashard Lee given an opportunity to return the kick, and he just had it stripped right out of his hands.
Ware recovered it. Ware, who was a hero in that San Diego game, returning a blocked kick, is the one who comes away with it. And see if we can tell who in the middle of all that knocked it loose.
Well, first of all, he's holding the ball in the wrong arm. He's got it in his right arm, which then exposes it to the tacklers that are coming after him, and
it's
you see right
Roper.
there.
Roper knocked it out. First down for the Eagles. McMahon with all day, fires too high, and a flag is down in the secondary. Brian Westbrook could not reach up and grab it. And we'll check the marker.
Illegal use of hands to the face, 31, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that's the former Eagle Al Harris.
Yeah, and that's kind of Al's game, really. He's in here in the slot, and he is a physical corner. For no bigger than he is, he's a very physical guy, and you saw it. It wasn't much. I tell you, Joe, over the last few games, I've seen officials calling that much closer than what they ever have before.
All 3 Philadelphia possessions have started inside Green Bay territory. They lead 3-0, and Westbrook carries it. Nice run, looking for more. Looking at the end zone, touchdown. No flags. Westbrook gets his 3rd touchdown run of the season.
Jamal Jackson there to center. He's pulling, and you see he creates the lane by the kick out, and that's when Westbrook's able to get underneath that block, and a good job getting downfield as well. And of course, Brian Westbrook, once you get him out in space, he's hard to get on the ground.
Is it blasphemous to say that was a Barry Sanders type cut? He went straight sideways and then broke it for the end zone. Westbrook, one of the best in the business. That little move right there. 10-0, the Eagles out in front here in the first quarter over Green Bay. Early in the season for the Eagles, the run game was just about non-existent, to the point where Andy Reid was questioned about it week after week after week. They finally pulled it together in the Monday night game here at home against Dallas. And Westbrook just carried it in from 27 yards out. They get 10-0 Eagles. Now Andre Thurman is waiting for the kick. Rashard Lee has a rib injury. Thurman took it from the 10. Gets it out to the 26. Justin Enna on the tackle for the Eagles. Brett Favre trailing yet again. Back to work. It's your chance to see Troy Aikman in high definition as Fox Sports broadcasts in HD, and it's presented by DirecTV. Rethink TV.
Better go put some makeup on. Is that what you're saying?
Cover some stuff up. 6 minutes, 48 seconds left in what is a long first quarter. Brett Favre play action on first down. Throws on the run and hits Driver, who's wide open. And Donald Driver, a 23-yard reception, first completion for Favre.
Now you go back to that touchdown and watch the job that Sean Andrews does here. He chips on Grady Jackson, then he gets on Nick Barnett. And then you got John Runyon, who's going to seal off Grady Jackson after that. And those are the types of blocks that you've got to have in order to get these long runs. Of course, we showed what Jamal Jackson did at center. But right here is the shield that John Runyon presented, and that's why Brian Westbrook got the big run.
Taking it right up the gut is Gatto, and Samcon covers it up. After picking up 15, he ends up with 17 yards and a first down for Green Bay, and a nice burst by a guy who a couple of weeks ago came out of nowhere.
Well, and one thing Samcon Gatto is going to do is hold on to the football. He's fumbled 3 times, and you know, he was a third-string running back at Liberty. He was never even the starter in college, and now he's here in the National Football League, and he's starting the ball game.
Gets it on a toss from Favre, cuts it back up the middle, and Samcon Gatto is gone. Touchdown Green Bay on the toss from Favre. Gatto takes it in. And this Philadelphia defense continues to give up big plays.
And that's the big problem with this Eagles defense. It seems that every time their offense goes down and scores, their defense has given up points. And I know in talking with some of these Packer coaches prior to the game, they said the one thing we've not been able to do is get Samcon Gatto out on the open field. Now, Brian Dawkins is right there to make a play, and he goes down low, and that's not typical of the way Brian Dawkins makes tackles.
Longwell makes it a 3-point game. That was the longest run by a Packer this year. 33 yards for a touchdown from Gatto. But by the way, Brett Favre actually likes. Talk about that when we come back. Gatto is in. And the lead is now 3 for the Eagles. Nigerian-born Samcon Gatto. When we talked to Mike Sherman, he said, well, he's new and he had the one big game against Atlanta. We're still trying to figure out what he's got and if he's legit. So then you talk to Brett Favre, who's always more than honest about how guys are around him, and he said, you know what, I like him. He's got a lot of good things, and he's a very aware running back.
Well, let me tell you, Samcon Gatto is a pre-med major, and he's going to go on to be a doctor. And Brett Favre said the first time he was in the huddle, he was trying to explain to him what plays, you know, how to run them. And then after the game, Brett was informed that he was actually a pre-med major and was going to be a doctor. So then Brett said, I had to start asking him what my job was, because I knew he was a heck of a lot smarter than what I am.
Longwell kicks it away, and Lamar Gordon gets another shot. He's fumbled today on an offensive play, and he carries it out across the 25, knocked down inches shy of the 29 by William Henderson, back to the touchdown.
Yeah, you go back and you take a look, and you just look at the angles that the Eagles take on this, and you see, and they just don't fill the gaps. And you've got Dhani Jones, who was in a position to collapse on him, and I don't want to take anything away from Samcon Gatto and his run, but yet the Eagles were in a position to be able to make the play, and Brian Dawkins certainly was there to make the tackle, and neither of which happened. And that's kind of been the story for this defense all season long.
Our graphics are down. There, I said it. I just got it out. This is old-fashioned television football.
I'm sure our viewers are going to be real excited about that too.
They might be. How about the sound effects? Are they still working? 10-7, the Eagles lead, and McMahon hands it to Gordon. And he covers up after an earlier fumble. He gets 3. Next week, we will be at Giant Stadium for a very important matchup in the NFC East. That's the Cowboys and the Giants. The Packers will be playing at the Bears, and the Bears won again today down in Tampa, Florida. And the Redskins and Rams will play late. The single-header weekend on Fox a week from today.
And that Cowboy-Giant game, it becomes a huge game next week, regardless of whatever happens in Seattle this afternoon.
Second down and 8. McMahon with Campman bearing down on him. That pass was tipped. They'll bring up 3rd and 8.
You know, I really thought last week Mike McMahon, and he acknowledged as much, that he just had not played a lot of football prior to going into last week's game as the starter, and he struggled early. He put the ball on the ground a few times early in that game, did not have a very good first half, but in the second half I thought he was exceptional. And they did not lose that game last week because of the play at quarterback. He took his team down the field on a number of occasions and got them back into the game, only to have the defense give up the score, much like what they just did.
A blitz from Green Bay, and that pass hit the umpire right in the head.
There's been a lot of debate, and that hit him pretty good too. The ear shot, that's the whole ear hole is what they call it.
And on a chilly, not cold day, that's got to.
Well, and there has been a lot of debate as to where that umpire should line up.
The punt with Chapman waiting for it. Antonio Chapman crosses the 30 as Nick Murphy just punted for the first time for the Eagles. So a 3-and-out series for the Eagles, and now we look back on the Packers season in review. They lose Javon Walker week 1. Amon Green made 5 starts. 5 losses by 3 points or fewer. Favre 18 touchdowns, 3rd best in the NFL, the most interceptions in the NFL with 17, and that 2-8 record. However, the only team in the history of the NFL to be 2-8 yet outscore their opponents 218 to 204. From the 32, Gatto gets it out to the 34, picked up 2. Michael Lewis, the first one there.
It's interesting when you talk about the Green Bay Packers running game, and Amon Green, he hasn't even played in 5 weeks, and yet he, coming into this game, was still the leading rusher, and even while he was playing, they weren't running the ball particularly well. And it's surprising because in recent years, that's really what this offense has been predicated on, is their ability to run the ball, but they've gotten progressively worse here in the last couple of seasons.
It's 2nd down and 8. Favre trying to set up a screen, and now just flips it. They are going to throw the flag for an intentional grounding. Favre just flipped it almost like an option, and he flipped it into an empty area, and the running back Gatto wasn't anywhere near it.
Well, they're going to try to determine if there was anybody within the area, but the other part of it is it's got to go at least 2 yards from the line of scrimmage, and I think the ball landed short of that.
See if they could also get an ineligible player downfield. Let's get the call.
Ineligible downfield prior to the pass, number 68 of the offense. Still 2nd down.
It's kind of the better of 2 evils for Green Bay. He meant Flanagan. It's kind of the better of 2 evils because you don't have the loss of down. You get the penalty marked off, but it's still 2nd down as opposed to intentional grounding, which I think they could have easily called, and you get a loss of down with that. Instead of 3rd down, it's still 2nd down. 2nd down and 13. Blitz, handoff to Gatto, runs into his offensive lineman Whitaker, and Gatto only gets 2. 3rd and long coming up for the Packers.
The Eagles, they bring the inside blitz with the 2 linebackers, and Mike Sherman, and this, hey, Samcon Gatto, we've talked about him. He was, 5th string guy coming into this game, and there are times when he has some room to run, and he just hasn't been able to find the hole, and he's just an inexperienced running back. And I know that this staff, you say, well, tell us about what type of runner he is, and they can't even answer that because they're seeing it for the first time as well.
3rd down and 11. Pass is off the back of Cole, the defensive end who was backing up into coverage. A zone blitz, and Cole was in front of Driver. It's 4th down.
You know, they bring the pressure off the one side, and this is really what Jim Johnson likes to do. They're going to bring pressure here, and then what you're going to see is Trent Cole drop back. He's going to drop back underneath the slant. Brett Favre thought he was going to have an easy one to Donald Driver, not expecting Cole to run the zone blitz.
B.J. Sander with another punt. Gets away a good one. Mahe with a fair catch, and they'll mark it at the 24. So the Eagles get it. They lead by 3 after a 45-yard punt from B.J. Sander.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about coming in to this game and the job that Mike Sherman has done, you know, with this group, and it's hard, and it's unique to him because even his first season they finished up 9-7, finished up strong, and we're still in the playoff picture. And for them to be where they're at this point after 10 ball games is new to him, and heck, it's new to Brett Favre as well. But yet you put on the tape and you watch these guys and they play hard, and I think that's a credit to the players, but it's also a credit to the staff.
McMahon going to try and run, and he can run. Slides for a first down out to the 39-yard line. Carried it for 15 yards. The Packers are well aware of what Mike McMahon can do with his legs.
Well, watch Kabir Bajabiamila. He's coming around the edge on Todd Harriman's, and he's got a full run at Mike McMahon, and KGB can run. And that just is a pretty good example of the type of runner that Mike McMahon is, and that's an element that he provides this offense.
And off to Westbrook, and he's brought down by Paris Lennon in the backfield. Westbrook able to get back to the line of scrimmage. If you go back to Thanksgiving Day 2001, Mike McMahon came off the bench for Charlie Batch. It was a 16-point game at the time, and McMahon almost brought the Lions all the way back. He took them down the field, a couple of touchdown drives. One 2-point conversion was good, but it was an effort on a final 2-point try that came up short. And with that, it was a 2-point win for the Green Bay Packers. They had a tough time laying their hands on McMahon when he came in. That one is batted down by Cullen Jenkins. Brings up 3rd down for Philadelphia.
You know, this defensive front has really done a good job trying to get pressure on quarterbacks, and Cullen Jenkins here, I mean, that hit him. You got to get the ball up a little bit higher than that. I mean, generally you're hitting arms. That thing hit him about in the Adam's apple, but he had L.J. Smith in behind that for an easy completion. And you know, sometimes there's too much made about the height of quarterbacks, and Mike McMahon is not a short guy, but when you're a quarterback throwing the football, you're really throwing in between windows and people as opposed to throwing over.
3rd down and long. McMahon was ready to run immediately, and he's brought down for a sack. Campman, KGB, Nick Barnett, a loss of 2, and McMahon had nowhere to go.
You know, the one thing Andy Reid, it appears anyway, here in the first half is he's trying to be a little bit conservative as to how he approaches it with Mike McMahon. That was a called quarterback draw, and we've seen him run the ball already on 3rd and long as well.
Second punt by Nick Murphy. And that will roll to the 25. Nick Murphy is the 8th different Eagle to kick a ball this season for Philadelphia. This has been a lost month for the Eagles, to say the least. 0-4 record. Terrell Owens suspended. This is the final day of that suspension. Then he'll be inactive for the rest of the season. Donovan McNabb out for the season. And 2004 Pro Bowler Lito Shepherd was lost for the year last week with a severe ankle sprain.
You know, and I think when you look at the Eagles, really, you know, the injuries, there's no question that had an impact on them. But when you get beyond that and you say, okay, when Donovan was playing, you know, how did he do? He really struggled after about the 3rd or 4th ball game, and Michael Lewis has struggled, and then Lito Shepherd, who's now on IR, he struggles. We're talking about 3 Pro Bowl players who really had difficult seasons.
Gatto started right, cuts it back left, covers up, and gets 8. Rod Hood was the first to lay his hands on him for Philadelphia. You can see Jeremiah Trotter in the middle of it, being held back by Walt Coleman. Trotter is the inspirational leader for this defense, really for maybe the entire team, and a guy who last couple of weeks was not very quiet about his desire to get Terrell Owens back active and part of this team. 2nd and 2. Gatto half a yard short of a first down as we wind down the first quarter here in Philadelphia.
Well, one thing about Samkon Gatto, he's going to protect the ball. In fact, you know, his first game when he came in and was playing, I believe it was against Pittsburgh, he was so conscious of not fumbling the ball that he was running with both arms over it. And then Mike Sherman said, look, I mean, you got to protect the ball, but you can't run like that. I mean, you got to loosen up a little bit. And so he loosened up a little too much and laid it on the ground 3 times in the last 2 games.
End of the first quarter here in Philadelphia, 10-7. The Eagles on top. The NFL on Fox will continue after this. Talk and ruin that. 10-7. Philadelphia out in front, and it's 3rd down and less than a yard for the Green Bay Packers. The old U-71 package is in as Kevin Berry, an extra tackle, as an eligible receiver, and they hand it to Gatto, and Samkon has a first down. Game break time. First down here in Philadelphia. Here.
Harvard back to Joe Buck.
The Ryan Fitzpatrick era has begun.
That was a heck of a comeback.
Favre, Franks, incomplete, and Franks was walloped by Dawkins. Franks was waiting on it, and Dawkins was sizing him up.
And Bubba Franks, he's still on the ground. He took a pretty good lick after that play, and if Brett Favre is able to lay this ball to the sideline, it's a relatively easy completion. That's where Bubba Franks was expecting it, but he threw it to the wrong side, and that's what led to the collision with Brian Dawkins.
Dawkins with the hit. Franks is still down and getting looked at by the training staff of the Packers.
Fox NFL Sundays, sponsored by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By Citizen Watches, Citizen Echo Drive Unstoppable. By DirecTV, introducing the DirecTV Plus DVR that lets you record, pause, and rewind live TV with a touch of a button. And by Best Buy, thousands of possibilities, get yours.
Those anxious moments that you never want to have in a football game, where that huddle around Bubba Franks. We've seen his hands move, and they're going to bring the stretcher out onto the field to help carry Bubba Franks off for further evaluation. It was Brian Dawkins who was the one that hit him. Bubba Franks just put his legs down, and it was Dawkins and Roderick Hood who were praying that Bubba Franks would be okay. We've seen him move his hands. We've seen him put his legs up and now put his legs down. And so we will take yet another break as they continue to look at Bubba Franks. As you watch the medical staff for the Packers, with help from some from the Eagles, place the stretcher and backboard under the back of Bubba Franks, realize this is procedure that's done in the NFL and really across football for any head or neck injury. We've seen Bubba Franks able to move his hands. He put his legs, which were initially bent upward, down flat to the ground. He's been talking to the medical staff, and you hope that this is just precaution as they take Bubba Franks off the field. And any update we get on the status of Bubba Franks, we will pass on. We will take yet another break here in Philadelphia. They have yet to get the stretcher off the field as Bubba Franks gets a nice ovation from this crowd. And it's Brian Dawkins who initially celebrated after the hit. He's had, for good reason, the most anxious look on his face since we've seen this happen with Bubba Franks who has blossomed into one of the game's best tight ends, a first-round pick in 2000 out of Miami. And Dawkins will go back to work. Franks puts his hand up in the air. That's a great sign as he puts his hands together and acknowledges this crowd. And isn't that great to see?
Yeah, how about these fans acknowledging him? And you know, you're right, Joe, there's no way to speculate as far as what the severity is of the injury, because more and more we're seeing teams take these precautions, in which they should, when you have an injury of this nature. And you know, a pretty good blow, though, when he was turning and trying to make that play, and Brian Dawkins' chest was the first thing to contact him in the helmet. But it's good to see that he's moving his arms.
So Dawkins and this defense will go back to work, as will Brett Favre. 2nd down and 10. Green Bay down by 3. Favre airs one out. Good coverage downfield for the Eagles, and the pass incomplete. Lewis and Sheldon Brown bracketing Donald Driver. That brings up 3rd and 10.
Well, Brett having been standing over on the sidelines while there was the delay in the game, and you know, how loose was he? But he throws a ball up into double coverage, and a good non-call by the official. There was contact down the field, but the contact was initiated by Driver, and the official did not make the call.
Look at the start for Favre. 1 for 8 for 23 yards. 3rd down and 10. Throws off his back foot, and it's broken up. Good coverage by Roderick Hood, who gets the start today in place of the injured Lito Shepherd. Antonio Chapman, the intended receiver, and Hood had great position on him.
Well, and the Eagles, this is where they've gotten into some trouble in recent weeks. They bring pressure, and when they've not gotten to the quarterback, that's when they've given up big plays. The Packers blocked it up, and if Favre had been able to get the ball out further, they may have been able to come down with a big play there as well.
B.J. Sander punts, and the punt is muffed. Reno Mahe could not bring it in, and we'll see who comes away. The indication is Philadelphia. The muffed punt by Reno Mahe. And you can see one of the new defensive backs, Jaron Wisham, had a clear shot at the football but could not secure it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Wisham doesn't come down with that when the ball's right in his pocket, and Mahe just wrestles it away from him. So at that point, yeah, I mean, at that point, when you get to the bottom, it's just a scrum as to whoever the strongest guy is down there that can get the control of the ball. But Wisham certainly should have been able to recover that one.
Starting at their own 24, McMahon drops it off out of the reach of Reno Mahe. And this crowd is booing the Eagles offense. Early game headliners. How about the rapid progression of Carson Palmer, who is the top-rated quarterback in the NFL, which might be news if you just think of quarterbacks, records, Peyton Manning, it's Carson Palmer, and there's the day for Tomlinson and Alex Brown, part of that great defense for the Bears. 2nd down and 10. McMahon throws, and the pass is caught. That's Chad Lewis, the tight end, who was brought back. And it brings up 3rd down and 5.
Well, I think it's fitting that when you talk about Carson Palmer in the year that he's having, remember, he did not play as a rookie. And I know here in Green Bay, they're talking about whether or not Aaron Rodgers should get some playing time once the Packers are eliminated from postseason play. And I think that's a good example that you don't necessarily have to play as a rookie to be able to go on and have some success very early in your career.
It's 3rd down and 5. McMahon throws incomplete. Brown, the intended receiver, and it was Ahmad Carroll defending for Green Bay, and another punt is coming from the Eagles.
Well, really good job by Ahmad Carroll, and you know, 1st-round pick from a year ago. Reggie Brown he's just not running. And if you're going to get separation in this league and you're going to get open on routes, you've got to be able to run through contact. You can't slow down. And as you can tell, Reggie Brown was not running at full speed.
Here's the punt from Murphy. Chapman waiting for it. Takes it from the 29. Antonio Chapman, a flag. 3 flags are down on the return by Chapman, as he's forced out at the 48. 19-yard return, but we'll see if the penalty will bring it back.
Illegal block in the back. 86 of the return team during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Donald Lee with a block in the back. That wipes out very good field position for Green Bay as they have the football and they trail by 3.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Fox tomorrow. The escape is coming, but someone won't make it. Don't miss the fall finale of Prison Break, part of a special 2-hour event starting at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tomorrow night right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised.
Why you keep looking at me?
I just know you're a fan of the show. It's a show that's critically acclaimed, and one of those shows they always make it a point to get you updated on what's happened to that point, and that's tomorrow night, so tune in.
I'm ready for 24 to get started again.
I know. It just changes your life when that thing is up and running.
It makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It's appointment TV.
And you got another episode to watch.
It's like going back to a good book. This is Gatto. Nice effort to get away from Cole. And Gatto picks up 1. Let's go down for a report from Pam Oliver.
Okay, Joe, you can just imagine the concern for Bubba Franks right now. At first, medical officials went to load Franks into an ambulance. Instead, they have him inside an X-ray room here at the stadium where he remains. We are told that Franks suffered some tingling in his arms and feet. About a dozen or so people are standing outside of that X-ray room. As soon as we get the results of that, we'll let you know, Joe.
All right, Pam, thanks. And now whistles before the start of the play. Darwin Walker is banged up and had a tough time getting off the field. You can hear him say the word stinger down there along the sideline, and they'll get a closer look at Walker. And now we're ready for a 2nd and 8 play. Favre, slow start. Martin overthrown. Martin was open. Favre threw too high. Michael Lewis on the coverage. 3rd and 8.
Yeah, and he's off a little bit right now. I mentioned it a little bit earlier that early in games, I know going back to the years that I played against the Packers and Brett Favre, we always felt that if we could get off to a fast start, we could create a little distance with us, because usually Brett Favre would come in and he'd be throwing high. Now, over the years recently, I haven't noticed that as much, but in today's game, he has missed some guys that have been open with some high throws.
3rd down and 8. Eagles blitz. Pass complete to Ferguson, makes a move to the inside. Ferguson has a 1st down for the Packers out to the 35.
Well, real simple route by Robert Ferguson, who's back playing, and he just hooks up in the zone, and he has a chance. And when Michael not able to make the tackle, and if he was able to, then he keeps Ferguson from being able to pick up the 1st down.
10-yard completion to Robert Ferguson, who missed 3 games with a knee injury. Gatto is out to the 41, picked up 6. Curse on the tackle for Philadelphia. You know, we talked to Brett Favre, as we get a chance to do anytime we're doing a Green Bay game, and you talk to him about all the retirement talk, which is always a focus with Brett Favre, and he said, I just keep a tally. The days where I want to be somewhere else compared to the days when I'm happy being the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
And so I asked him, I said, where are you at right now?
Who's winning? Which side's winning?
He said it's 50-50. Good poker player.
2nd down and 4. Favre airs it out. Ferguson is open but overthrown.
obviously a lot of people speculating, you know, not even just about whether or not he's going to come back and play next year, but also, you know, whether or not he still has the skills to come back and play at the level that we're accustomed to seeing him play. And I think if you were to remove the number of interceptions that he's thrown this year, and he threw 5 against Cincinnati, but other than that, I think Brett has played pretty well. You know, he's still got great arm strength. He doesn't move like he used to, but he still moves well enough. And I definitely believe he's still one of the top quarterbacks in this game.
3rd down and 4, another blitz. Favre throws, completes it to Martin, and the tight end David Martin has a 1st down. Let's go back down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, I'm standing outside the tunnel area, and they have taken Bubba Franks from that x-ray room, and they are currently loading him onto the ambulance right now. That flurry of activity, it involves both Green Bay and Eagles training people, as well as some doctors, I understand, that were paid to come down to take a look at him. I understand he will be taken to Jefferson Hospital here in Philadelphia. Back to you.
All right, Pam, 1st down for Green Bay. Little reverse to Donald Driver, and Donald is forced out right at midfield. Ten minutes left in this 1st half, and we look back. Richard Lee, a fumble on a kick return. Brian Westbrook and the Eagles offense made the most of it, getting the touchdown to make it 10-0, but then Sam Gatto rumbled in from 33 yards out. The injury to Bubba Franks on the hit by Brian Dawkins, and his status continues to be updated by Pam Oliver as we go through this game in Philadelphia. 2nd down and 6. Pass complete to Martin. And Troy, just to finish the conversation on Favre, I guess finish it for the moment, the conversation that's ongoing. All of that conversation leads somebody like me to say, well, would you ever go somewhere else? And he said, absolutely not. It's either Green Bay or nowhere next year. He said, heck, I've been in this offense so long, I'm not even sure I could learn a new offense.
Yeah, it really is amazing that he's had the opportunity to play within the same system for all these years. The emphasis within the offense has changed somewhat. It used to be primarily a passing offense. Recent years, it's gone more around the running game, but still, yeah, the same terminology. Gatto to the 40 and beyond. Picks up 2. And I think because of the fact that they have struggled so much this year, and even last year, if you think back to last season when they began the year 1-4, and then for them to be able to get back into the hunt and finish up 10-6 and into the playoffs, they did it on the right arm of Brett Favre, him throwing for over 4,000 yards last season. And if they're going to do anything here over the 2nd half of this year, it's going to be on the arm of Brett Favre, because they've not run the football at all this year.
2nd down and 8. Gatto again. Room to run, and Sam Gatto is brought down just short of a 1st down with under 8 to play in the half. Packers would have to win out to finish at 500. Come into this game 2-8.
Well, and in previous years, I know that I was on a team that made the playoffs at 8-8, but I don't see that happening in the NFC this year. I think it's going to take 10 wins, and whoever's going to be coming out of the North is only going to be the divisional winner.
Which looks more and more week after week as Gatto is brought down by Trotter short of a 1st down. Looks more and more like that team's going to be the Chicago Bears. It's 4th down here and a decision for the Packers. Now it's David Martin who took over for Bubba Franks, who is limping as he gets up. Do you bring on Longwell to try and tie it? The answer is no. They bring on Berry and Driver to try to go for it on 4th down.
Well, and this is the right call. You're a little bit outside the range, and beyond that, I mean, you're 2-8.
4th down and 1. Gatto. It depends on the spot. Trotter saying that the Eagles stopped him short. The right foot of that head linesman. And according to our line, they're inches short. We'll see how accurate that is. Keith Adams on the tackle for Philadelphia.
Well, Sam Congato, he doesn't have far to go, and he hesitates just enough, and then they got his feet. You see some of these good short yardage backs, and they're able to get their feet up and their knees up, and the reason for that is it's so people on the ground, because it becomes a big pile at the bottom, not reaching up and grabbing their leg.
First down by 2 centimeters.
Yeah, that surprises me too, because I thought he came up short.
Gatto just got it, and that makes Green Bay 3 out of 9 going for it on 4th down this season. They keep the ball with under 6.5 to play in the first half. 13th play of the drive. Favre, end zone. Lee intercepted. Michael Lewis. Interception number 18 thrown by Brett Favre.
And that is part of playing quarterback. I talked a little bit earlier about the interceptions that Brett has thrown. He leads the National Football League, and some of these interceptions have really hurt his football team.
Lewis gets his first of the season. Still 10-7 Eagles. 5th straight game with an interception for Brett Favre. He has at least one in 9 of 11. And you look at the combination of Favre, who threw it into the waiting hands of Michael Lewis, who got his first of the year. On first down, it's Westbrook. Delivers a hit on Ahmad Carroll. And they are howling on the sideline.
You go back and you take a look at this, and Donald Lee, he's going to run and out and up, and he's a big guy, and he runs like a wide receiver. He's 6'4", and I was talking with Brett before the game, and he's a guy, he knows that if he gets the ball up to where Donald Lee can make a play on it, he's got a chance. And it looked like that's what he was trying to do, but it was an underthrown ball, and he didn't give Donald Lee much of a chance to make a play.
And at the end of a 13-play drive covering 46 yards, the Packers come away with no points, still trail by 3 as Westbrook gets 3. And it's going to be 3rd and inches. We look at the NFC East. The Giants are playing right now. Record of 7-3. Dallas lost in overtime on Thanksgiving to Denver. They're 7-4. Washington blew a lead late. And Philadelphia brings up the rear in the NFC East at 4-6. The Giants at the moment trailing 7-3 up in Seattle. 3rd and inches. Is to Gordon in the bigger back, picks up the first down.
Well, I think if you're Philadelphia and you're looking at the NFC East as to how can we get back into this thing, in my opinion, they've really got to root for Dallas to win the NFC East, because Dallas has beaten the Eagles twice, and then they also would then hold the tiebreaker. And so if Dallas were to win, Philadelphia still has an opportunity to play Washington. They still play the Giants. They could potentially get in as a wild card.
Understand the Giants just took a lead at Seattle. Handoff is to Moats. 3rd carry of the day, and he's got nowhere to go. Lost a yard. Collins, Cole, Barnett, Lennon, you name it, they were there for Green Bay. 2nd down.
Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator for these Green Bay Packers, if you remember, looking back to last year when Dave Wanstead left the Miami Dolphins and Jim Bates was named the interim head coach, he's used to trying to get guys fired up and playing when they're knocked out of the playoff race. He did it last year with that team, and he's done a heck of a job continuing with that with his defensive unit here in Green Bay.
That's a left tackle, Todd Hermans. Again playing in place of the injured Trey Thomas, who will have to have back surgery.
79, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
I was talking with Mike McMahon, and he said because this was his first year with the Eagles, that when he was at camp watching Todd Herremans, he couldn't believe that the guy was a rookie. Just the way he conducts himself, the way he had an understanding of the offense, the way in which he practiced. He had a lot of great things to say about him, and really felt that he was going to have a heck of a game today.
2nd and 16, a blitz from Green Bay, and McMahon steps up, wants to run, slides to the 31-yard line and gains 6. 3rd down and 10 coming up.
There's been a lot of 3rd and longs in this game, and not a real well played game up to this point. A lot of penalties, of course, the ball on the ground. But as we talk about the NFC East and what has to happen for Philadelphia in order to try to get into the playoffs, the first thing they got to do is win a game. I mean, they've lost their last 4, and they don't even need to be thinking about playoffs.
We know you're thinking about Jim Morrow when you say that. McMahon throws, and he overthrows his receiver, Reggie Brown, by about 6 yards. So it's 4th down and another punt coming from Nick Murphy.
Last week they had to get the needle-nose pliers out on Mike McMahon's face mask because of all the mud and the grass he's got in it. Somebody needs to get those needle-nose pliers out again.
Quick punt by Murphy. And it's Chapman on the return. Gets to the edge. No flags are down at the moment, and Chapman gives the Green Bay Packers, with 2.5 minutes left in the half, great field position inside the Philadelphia 45 to the 44. A 24-yard return by Antonio Chapman. Packers have it, down 3. 2.5 to go. Green Bay with the ball down by 3. And so far, for Aikman, we have not seen much in this first half in Philadelphia.
No, we haven't. And so you come into the game with 2 teams that have been struggling, and then you watch them play, and then you see why it is that they've been struggling up to this point. And, like I say, Green Bay's in a very difficult position because of where they're at coming in. But Philadelphia, I still believe that it's hard to discount the heart of a champion. And if they are somehow able to find a way to win a game, there's no telling what may happen for this organization.
Handoff is to Gatto, and Samcon lunges to the 40. 6 yards shy of a first down. Let's go to Jay.
Not having enough bass in my voice when I gave that Harvard cheer. The guys are ridiculing me here in the studio. Back to Joe Brown.
Yay, Harvard. Penalty flag comes in on a pass out to Gatto. Samcon got 2. It was in reference to Ryan Fitzpatrick, who threw for over 300 yards in a Rams comeback win at Houston earlier today. The penalty is against.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. 29. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
That will take us to the 2-minute warning. 1:58 left. First down, Green Bay. The ball at the Philly 35. Packers trailing by 3. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports sticker has up to the second scores and stats.
Did you see Jimmy Johnson's piece today?
I don't miss him.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. A lot of truth to what he was saying, too, is the way he coached.
That's a piece. I always thought that was his own hair. Handoff is to Gatto, and Gatto goes backward. Javon Curse, Dahani Jones, stout defending the run. It's 2nd and 10. Brett Favre's quarterback rating is a whopping 12.9 at this point in the game.
Well, and you just wonder how much pressure does he feel with some of the guys he's got on the field to try to force plays and maybe try to make some throws he normally wouldn't try to make.
Second down and 10, and the pass incomplete, no flag. Getting up is Donald Driver, shocked to learn that Sheldon Brown won't be called for pass interference.
Well, and Donald Driver really is the only playmaker that Brett Favre has, and he's been looking for him a lot. You can see the coverage. You got Michael Lewis as well as Sheldon Brown, and I mean, I don't care where you try to put that football, he wasn't going to be able to make a play on it, and yet Brett, already a couple of times in this game, we've seen him try to make those types of throws, and then going back to previous games as well. But it's because there's a comfort level with Donald Driver that he doesn't necessarily have with some of these other players.
Third down and 11. A blitz. Favre throws and completes it to Driver. A little juggle at the end of the catch, but Driver has a first down just inside the 20.
And the Eagles know that Donald Driver is the guy that they're trying to get the ball to, and yet they turn him completely loose on that play.
Timeout taken by the Packers with 1:04 remaining.
You know, Brett gets a little bit of pressure, and he's still able to slide around, and he's still able to throw the ball on the move. And you know, Donald Driver got Michael Lewis moving, thinking he was going vertical, and when he turned around, Favre was able to get the ball to him. A good catch by Donald Driver. You know, I was talking to Donald Driver and Joe, and over the years, Brett Favre has not lost anything on his fastball. I mean, he can still throw it as hard today as he did when he came into the league, and it seems like every time I run into Donald Driver, he tells me he's got another broken finger from trying to catch Brett Favre's passes. He's got 4 broken fingers over the years, and on one of them, he tore it up so bad that they had to go in surgically and insert a screw. And he said since then, he just plays with them broken. He doesn't even try to fix them anymore.
Well, that last one, he had to catch a floater.
Sometimes I think receivers are out there in self-defense.
Gatto on a draw play. Samcon down to the 14. Picked up 7. Green Bay Packers have been able to move the ball the last 2 times they've had it. Previous possession, Favre through the interception of Michael Lewis. Now, with 45 seconds left in the half, 2 timeouts on the board. It's 2nd down and 3, trailing by 3. Favre, end zone, Martin. Touchdown as he hangs on. Touchdown, Green Bay, as they take their first lead of the day, and Favre throws his 19th touchdown pass of the year.
Well, this offensive line really doing a pretty good job overall. They give Brett Favre protection here, and then just a heck of a route by David Martin, recognizing where the hole in that zone was, and Jeremiah Trotter turned and ran trying to get underneath David Martin, but he never turned to try to see where the ball was. And that was a good throw by Brett Favre.
And it looked like Martin secured it before he ended up out of bounds and then held on at the end of the catch.
The ruling on the field.
Booth is going to review the ruling on the field. It looked like in that last angle we had that Martin was able to secure it. Then the question is, going to the ground, does he hang on and maintain control of it? I think the answer to that is yes. But the booth is going to take another look at it, as Favre at the moment has thrown his 19th touchdown pass of the season, 395th of his career. Here's what they're looking at under the hood. Did he hang on, maintain possession? Looks like it. At the moment, Green Bay up 3. Well, we're about to see a replay of just a very good catch by David Martin. There was a bobble at the beginning of it, but I would say by the time he secures the ball to his chest, he drags his right foot and gets both feet in bounds with control of the football before he heads out.
Yeah, that ball hit him in the face mask first before he got his hands up there to catch it, but I agree. It did appear that he had possession of it, got his feet down, and then maintained possession of the ball as he went to the ground.
You can see him dragging his right foot a little better on that first replay angle. And that's why Brett Favre and the Packers are still dangerous, just like you talked about at the beginning of the game. Favre's having a terrible half, but he converts on a 3rd down pass. He gets him into the end zone. He's still Brett Favre, and he can still rack up a lot of points in a burst.
And that really, Joe, has been his career. And I can tell you, every defensive coordinator in the National Football League.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Every defensive coordinator in the National Football League would be thrilled to see Brett Favre retire, because they know how dangerous he is, and as unorthodox as some of his throws are and as many chances that he takes, he's a dangerous guy, and he can strike at any time.
395 career touchdown throws. That's number 2 to Dan Marino. Favre trails Marino right behind him in completions, attempts, yards. As I mentioned, number 2 in touchdown passes. Number 3 in career wins with 137 is today number 138. 35 seconds left in the half. Pack up 4. 6-play drive, 44 yards covered, and it's David Martin with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season, playing in place of the injured Bubba Franks. And again, we wait further word on his condition as they take him to a local hospital after suffering that hit from Brian Dawkins in this first half. 35 seconds left. Philadelphia about to get it with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Gordon from the 8. Lamar Gordon out to the 28, maybe the 29-yard line, where he's brought down by Wisham.
Well, I've got to believe Philadelphia on this possession, even though there is only 29 seconds left in the half, because of the fact that they do have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, that they're going to go into a no-huddle offense. Of course, it's first time they have the ball and the clock still running, they can burn their first time out, but I don't think they're going to sit on it here.
If they do, this crowd will let them have it. Losers of 4 games in a row. The hand of Westbrook looking for a big play. A penalty flag is down as Westbrook is out to the 40. A 12-yard carry, but it's coming back.
Holding, 67, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the second-year center, Jamal Jackson.
And that's a shame for Philadelphia, because that was a good start with the draw, picking up some good yards, get them out there, burn the timeout, now start executing your no-huddle offense, but now they're going to be backed up, and I still don't necessarily feel, with it being 1st and long, that their approach should change.
See how daring Andy Reid wants to be with Mike McMahon as his quarterback, and a banged up offensive line, a lot of first-time starters and young guys across the front. They hand again to Westbrook, and this time Westbrook is shut down after he gained 9. Aaron Campman on the tackle, and that's it. So they did shut it down after that holding penalty. The crowd booing the Eagles as they exit. Brett Favre with a touchdown throw and a 4-point lead at the half here in Philadelphia. 14-10, Green Bay on top. Visa halftime show. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy coming up right after this from your local Fox station.
Too many people that are playing on this field right now played very well in the first half.
Here's the best news that happened that we just heard about moments ago. The word on Bubba Franks is he's going to be okay. He's going to travel back to Green Bay with the team after the game, and they were taking precautionary x-rays at the hospital. Our fantasy update, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN. Favre, Gatto, and Driver. Enough. Not a great half by Favre by any stretch of the imagination, but enough to end up with a 4-point lead after 30 minutes of play. A full head of steam by Lamar Gordon. William Henderson was in on the stop for Green Bay, and Mike McMahon in this offense will start at their own 26-yard line, a return of 25 yards by Gordon. The overall stats for these two sides, the Packers with over 100 yards rushing the ball. That hasn't been easy to come by this year for Green Bay. 100 even for the Eagles. Time of possession, nothing that really jumps out at you, except that Favre was able to engineer a couple of decent drives and throw that touchdown pass to David Martin, which is the difference. And Henderson gets up woozy after that hit on Lamar Gordon.
Well, impressive that Samcon Gatto on 18 carries over 100 yards rushing.
Handoff is to runs into Niall Diggs, who's playing with an injured knee. No gain on the play.
And the Eagles there in the first half, they really did run the ball much more effectively than what they've shown during the season. Of course, a couple of weeks ago against Dallas, they ran the ball very well in that game. But the thing that I've always noticed about the Eagles over the years is, although they didn't run the ball very often, when they did run it, they always ran it for a good yard per carry average. And this year, even when they weren't running the ball a lot, they still weren't running the ball well even when they did. And it's hard to call running plays when you're not having more success with it, although they are here tonight.
And it's evidently hard to call plays, period, as Mike McMahon and the Eagles have to take a timeout.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
Really a beautiful night here on the 27th of November. Not much wind. The temperature not bad, pleasant. William Henderson getting looked at on the sideline while we watch a 2nd and 10 blitz from Green Bay, and McMahon drops it incomplete. Looking for Greg Lewis, and it was Ahmad Carroll, who started the season as a starter, lost his job, got it back. Why is it 14-10? Westbrook carried it in from 27 yards out to make it 10-0. Gatto, a touchdown for Green Bay in the second of that first half for the Packers. A touchdown throw to David Martin, the tight end. It's 14-10. Less than a minute gone in this second half. 3rd and 10 for Philadelphia. Out of the backfield, it's Westbrook. And Westbrook cannot get the first down. Everything just pulled in tight for this Philadelphia offense. Westbrook got 6, and it's another 3 and out.
Well, you can just tell that Andy Reid, he's reaching as well as far as what to call offensively, especially when you get into 3rd and long. Again, another screen play, trying to pick up 10 yards. And, you know, Terrell Owens, say what you want, but he was a presence on the field.
Ugly punt by Nick Murphy, and it's a fake reverse. Chapman keeps it and takes it out to the 39-yard line. A 36-yard punt, 8-yard return. Decent field position for the Packers, who lead by 4.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
More or less the last man standing across that offensive line. John Runyon, starting right tackle. They do have Andrews at right guard today. The Eagles do. But a young offensive line, and the Eagles offensively haven't done anything today. 2-yard carry by Gatto, and a penalty flag is in at the end of that play. Drive starting at the 38 for Green Bay.
Holding, 78. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That is the rare defensive hold on a defensive lineman, Hollis Thomas. We look ahead to next week. Packers at the Bears. The red-hot Chicago Bears. Redskins and Rams, another big early game. The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants, and the Giants have extended their lead to 13-7 at Seattle. Seattle right now the best record in the NFC. That's dropped by Vontae Leach. The fullback, who has 3 catches on the year, couldn't haul that in. 2nd and 10.
You know, you talk about the significance of that game out west that's going on right now between Seattle and New York, and you know, I think that that's a game that certainly has playoff implications when you get to the end of the season. And how does that affect home field advantage? It obviously does within the NFC East, and I keep going back to, this is a game very important to Seattle, because if they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs and don't have to travel east, that's a great opportunity for them.
Handoff is to Gatto out to the 46. Picked up a yard. And right now you've got Seattle. You're coming into that game as a record of 8-2. They had a chance today to clinch the NFC West, but the Rams made a glorious comeback to win at Houston. Behind Ryan Fitzpatrick from Harvard. And you've got the Giants at 7-3, Dallas at 7-4. The Bears are now 8-3. And the Carolina Panthers are 8-3. It's interesting in the NFC. And penalty flags before the snap.
Yeah, that was Scott Wells, the guard, leaving early.
False start, 63, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So I'll make it 5 yards tougher for Green Bay. It's 3rd and 14.
You know, I think this offensive line for Green Bay, it's easy when you look at some of the struggles that they've had running the football this season to point to the guard play to Adrian Clem, who was the starter at left guard prior to 3 weeks ago, and then of course the rookie Will Whitaker. But I really think you have to evaluate this offensive line as a whole because they all have to work in unison for it to work.
3rd down and 14. Fisher on a screen. And Fisher is knocked down short of first down yardage by Trotter. Jeremiah Trotter with his team 4-6 and fighting to try and stay alive. Delivered the blow, and it's 4th down for Green Bay.
You know, I'll tell you what, Jeremiah Trotter, he's one of the proud guys on this defensive team, and he plays hard on every snap. And, you know, when he comes up to deliver a hit, I mean, he brings all he's got. And we could hear that hit all the way up here in the booth. But what a player Jeremiah Trotter is.
B.J. Sander hangs it up, and the Moats, or rather Mahe, lets it go over his back and into the arms of Hawkins.
Well, and it looked like, I don't think he touched it, but he extended his arm as if he was going to try to catch it.
I don't know why he didn't. And if the ball glances off him, which is reviewable, be in the category of a muff, which you cannot advance as it is right now. 31-yard punt. Philly has it, down 4. Brett Favre, Mike McMahon, and a comparison of the two quarterbacks. Combined, their rating is just over 90. Combined 12 out of 34 on the day, and McMahon's going to keep it. Roll to his right and fire. L.J. Smith with a first down catch. Picks up 13. Another nice safe throw from Mike McMahon.
Yeah, and L.J. Smith, I mean, he really is one of the more underrated guys, not only on this team but also around the league. I mean, he is slowly becoming a real factor within this football team, and you know, a much stronger guy than what people realize, more athletic as well, but he runs well. He's got great hands, and he has really elevated his play once Terrell Owens was suspended.
On first down, McMahon with time fires wide open. A penalty flag on the play as Lewis hauls it in. Chad picked up 18. Niall Diggs on the stop, and there's a flag that came from the back of the play.
Illegal contact, 59, defense. A penalty's declined. Play results in a first down.
You know, we haven't talked much about KGB and his rushing off the edge. And, you know, again, you got Todd Harrimans and then Brian Westbrook chipping in order to keep him from being a factor. And Chad Lewis does a good job running this corner route, and Mike McMahon spotting him and getting the ball into his hands.
Picks up 3. The Eagles, since the first quarter touchdown on that run by Brian Westbrook, have had 5 punts in the end of the half, 50 total yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 here for Andy Reid's offense. Seattle has taken a 1-point lead at home over the Giants. Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator for Mike Sherman. On 2nd down, a handoff to Westbrook. And coming down was KGB. Makes the hit from his defensive end spot, a gain of 3.
You know, KGB, we showed Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator, and it's a little bit different defensive scheme than what he had run in previous years, and he really likes this scheme. He feels like it gives him a little bit of freedom. He lines up a little bit wider as the defensive end, and it creates a straighter path in order to rush the passer. But what it also does is it creates some space to where he's able to come underneath the block and make plays like what we just saw.
McMahon on third down. That's Westbrook, who started the play split out to the left. He's wrapped up and tackled shy of first down yardage.
It looks like he's short, Joe, and I'm not so sure that in this situation at this point in the season that you don't just go for it.
Pretty good tackle by Ahmad Carroll.
A pretty good job there of Brian Westbrook, at least hanging on to the ball. It was coming loose, but he was able to get a grip on it. And that's exactly now what the Eagles are going to do, is go for it.
We're going for it.
At the Green Bay 45, they need less than a yard. Handoff is to Westbrook, and he breaks it. Westbrook down inside the 25. 22-yard run on fourth down and less than one.
And initially, you can see Jim Bates, he's not happy about it at all. Initially, it looked like Brian Westbrook was going to be stopped in the backfield. You see the blocking up front. They come along that left side. He had a chance there, Nick Barnett, and then Reggie Brown downfield blocking, which allows him to get a few extra yards. But a good job up front and a nice job by Brian Westbrook.
I think Bates was upset that there was no call on Todd Harrimans. He had a hold of Paris Lennon on the edge of that play, clamped on him, and did not let go.
Well, I tell you what, Nick Barnett, he was in the hole. He could have been able to make the play. And yeah, obviously Jim Bates felt there was a hold there somewhere.
First down from the 24. McMahon, Westbrook can't get around Barnett. With help from Paris Lennon, a gain of only one. 8 minutes to go in this third quarter.
You know, you go back and take a look at Todd Harrimans and see exactly what happened. Here he is at left tackle. And it looked like you saw them pointing that he thought maybe there was some movement there. I certainly did not see a hold at all. That's textbook block, and I think Jim Bates was trying to say that there was movement along that offensive line. But regardless, Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker, was in a position to make the play in the hole and keep Brian Westbrook from picking up the first down, and was unable to make the play.
Now Paris Lennon walks off with his helmet off, and they're already missing Robert Thomas, who is inactive today with a thigh injury. Niall Diggs is banged up. And it's second down and 9 here for Philadelphia, down by 4.
You know, we came into the game, Joe, talking about Todd Harrimans and his opportunity to show what he can do, and whether or not Trey Thomas is going to be back next year after he comes off of the back injury. And, you know, so far, he's done a heck of a job. We have not talked about Kabir Bajabia-Miller, and then a great block there to convert on fourth down.
Second down and 9. Ryan Moats breaks out of one tackle and then ends up in the arms of Cole. A gain of 2. Third down and long coming up for the Eagles.
You know, and here he is again, and they don't get much out of the play. But here he is again at left tackle, and you just watch. He keeps his feet moving once he engages, and you see he's driving KGB off, and then he gets a hold of Nick Barnett and gets him out of the way as well. And those are the types of finishing plays that you want to see along that offensive line, and that's something that this offensive line overall has not shown a lot of during the first part of this year.
The word on Paris Lennon, a hand injury. His return is questionable. Third down and 7. From the 21, McMahon looking for somewhere to go. Throws incomplete. Greg Lewis looking for a flag. Coverage by Ahmad Carroll. And it's fourth down.
Cameron came into this game. We talked about how hot he was, and then John Runyon, the right tackle, and how much experience he has relative to these other guys that he's playing with today. And he's done a good job as well. I think when you look at what's happening offensively for the Eagles, it's certainly not because Mike McMahon's not getting some time to throw the football. They've just not had much success in other areas.
38-yard try for David Akers, who's been good from 44. You're just spreading the love around those tackles.
Hey, I mean, that's coming from a quarterback. You should have seen me when I was playing with my own tackles.
Yeah, I know. Always spreading the love. And the umpire we saw in the first half get hit in the ear by a pass over the middle comes up gimpy at the end of that play before a 38-yard try by Akers and left side of your screen. Oh, Westbrook got him.
He's going to have to take a whirlpool after this one.
It's Carl Paganelli.
Pack him in ice.
And whistles again.
Who's hurt now?
I don't know.
It's like every time we've turned around, we've either had an official or a player on the ground.
So look at the umpire's leg over on the bench. And this officiating crew will be playing with one short. Yard try. It is a one-point game. 14-13 as Akers is good from 38 here in Philadelphia.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by T. Rowe Price, mutual funds, IRAs, college savings. Invest with confidence. By Campbell's Chunky Soup in microwavable bowls. Campbell's Chunky, it fills you up right. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
6 minutes, 40 seconds left in the third quarter. David Akers knocks a 38-yarder through, and it's 14-13 Green Bay. Akers will kick it off with Andre Thurman waiting deep, and Carl Paganelli, the umpire, a little grimace, and he's good to go.
Got taped up, wrapped up, and feels like he can go on.
William Henderson, who was knocked woozy about 10 minutes ago, is back out on the field for the Packers. And Thurman will take it from the 4. Andre Thurman, wow, is hit by Brewer. Dedrick Roper was there for Philadelphia as well. And let's go back to the injury. There is Paganelli getting hit by a pass over the middle moments ago. Gets scraped by Brian Westbrook, and Andy Reid wanted to know what was up.
What happened to you?
Damn, I'm using me as a pick. I know, I'm going back out though. I'm not gonna let you guys get away with this. You get it out quick, because I know you did, Andy.
Got to play hurt, coach.
Back out on the field is Carl Paganelli, and brought down by Javon Curse is Gatto. A gain of only 1.
Yeah, it is a dangerous spot. I talked a little bit earlier about the umpire and where he's positioned, and there's been talks in the competition committees as to moving him back to where the referee stands, and that's behind the quarterback, because with these West Coast offenses, as we saw, they're always crossing and running these drag routes. And here he is right here. And when he said they used me as a pick, that's what offensive receivers do. They try to run their defenders into the umpire. He basically becomes a target when he's out there in the middle of the field.
2nd down and 9. Favre throws, completes it. Lee fights for a first down, out of bounds across the 35 to the 37, 38-yard line. It's a game break, and it's James. All right, JB, Joe Juravicius, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns against his former team. 87 yards. Favre rolls to his left, hits Lee, becoming a favorite target. And Donald is out to the 41. Game 3. We talked to Favre earlier in the year, and even in week 3, he was talking about the ability of Donald Lee, if he could ever figure it out and use his great speed to go with that big body.
You know what's surprising, Joe, is he spent his first 2 years with the Miami Dolphins, and last year he had 10 starts, but he only had 13 receptions. They just didn't throw him the ball very much. And I know when he came here, and Jim Bates is the one, because of the defensive coordinator, he was with the Dolphins. He was aware of him, and he's going to talk to staff into bringing him in.
2nd down and 7. Pump fake, and over the middle, the pass is complete to Gatto. The ball comes out. It's ruled a fumble, and Dawkins takes it. As it stands right now, it's a fumble, and it belongs to Philadelphia on the Green Bay side of midfield. Jeremiah Trotter knocked it out, and Gatto puts it on the ground for the 4th time in his short career.
Well, it was close. You're going to see contact made, and Semino going after the strip. Couldn't tell from that angle. Here it is, a better look at it, and he comes in. Is his knee or any other part of his body down before the ball comes out? And it looked like the ball was out before he was down.
Mike Sherman has thrown the red challenge flag out there. And that ball's coming out, it looks like, before the knee is down.
Well, and the umpire was right there on top of it, and he wouldn't make
Green Bay challenging and ruling on the field of a fumble.
So the challenge from Green Bay, it looks like the call will stand. As it is right now, Philly down by 1 has the ball at midfield. A hit from Jeremiah Trotter forced the fumble. Brian Dawkins recovered for Philadelphia. A challenge from Green Bay. And Sam Gatto is dejected over on the sideline. Benched in the 2nd half last week in the game against Minnesota for fumbling. It looks like he has done it again as we look at the replay.
Well, you're going to see Carl Paganelli, the umpire, he's hobbling around right here. You see him. And he's just trying to stay out of the way and keep him getting
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Fumble. First down for Philadelphia. Green Bay will be charged with a first-team timeout.
Well, I know it's very frustrating for Sam Gatto, and it's also very frustrating for Mike Sherman, because Sam Gatto had 3 fumbles coming into this game, had not lost any of those 3, but that had certainly been a point of emphasis coming into this week. He had been coached all week long about keeping the ball high and tight, not laying it on the ground, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does not get back out onto the field the rest of this game.
Ray Rugemer's trying to calm him down. You could see Gatto slamming his helmet down, then immediately grabbing his hand. After the way he did out of frustration. That's 4 fumbles now, and it's the 3rd turnover from the Packers. Here's Philadelphia at midfield, down by a point. Passes behind Westbrook, who is open.
You know, I mentioned earlier about Sam Gatto. I mean, it is different when you're talking about going from the college game to the pro game for any running back, because of the way that the defenses in this league and the players, they try to strip the ball. But, you know, Sam Gatto, he was a 3rd-string tailback at Liberty. I mean, he just has not carried the ball that often, and certainly running backs understand they got to hang on to the ball, and there's no ultimate excuse for laying it on the ground. But it's certainly a little more understandable when you realize that this is just a very raw player.
On 2nd down and 10, it's aired out and incomplete for Lewis. Carroll back there for Green Bay. 3rd down and 10.
They're finally able to take a shot down the field. So much of what they've been throwing have been the underneath routes, and Greg Lewis got tangled up just enough that kept him from being able to come underneath that ball, and McMahon thought he threw the perfect pass. You can tell by his reaction that when it left his hand, he thought Greg Lewis had a chance to get under it and catch it. And, you know, Greg Lewis was the guy that I thought was really going to emerge as the go-to guy once T.O. was no longer around, but that just hasn't happened for the Eagles.
3rd down and 10. McMahon fires, and it's tipped incomplete, broken up by Mark Roman. L.J. Smith was the intended receiver, and the Eagles do nothing with that opportunity at midfield after the turnover by Gatto.
Well, and L.J. Smith really runs a good route on Mark Roman, and because Mark Roman was beat so bad, he decides to try to come underneath and then intercept that pass. Had McMahon been able to get the ball over Roman, there was nobody in the middle of the field to defend him.
Fair catch called for at the 15 by Chapman as Nick Murphy punts it. And Green Bay will start back at their 15, and Gatto comes back onto the field. 35-yard punt from Nick Murphy. This is week 12 and more early game headliners. Steve McNair, 343 yards. For the Titans, Larry Johnson, another 100-yard day. He is the main back now and the featured guy, with Priest Holmes on the shelf for the rest of the year. And Torrey Holt, 10 catches, 130 yards, a touchdown from Ryan Fitzpatrick. On first down, Gatto carries. First down and more, picked up 13. Keith Adams on the stop.
You know, good hole there along that right side, and as you're going to notice, Samkon Gatto, he gets through it, and then at the end, before contact, he's going to put the left hand over the ball to protect the football. And he's not going to take a chance on that thing coming out again. And you know, when I mentioned I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get back into the game, I don't know who else Green Bay would put in there, because Tony Fisher, they don't want in on first and second down.
On first down, handoff is to Fisher, who runs into his offensive lineman. Looked like he slammed into the back of Will Whitaker, and a gain of 7.
Well, this offensive line, considering the fact that they have not run the ball well this year, they've certainly run the ball very well here in this game, and that has been one of the Achilles heels for this defense over the years, giving up yards on the ground. And Jim Johnson would always talk about he wasn't so much concerned about yards, just didn't want to give up big plays.
Second down and 3. Gatto gets back to the line of scrimmage. Hit by Michael Lewis. Samkon Gatto, who wears the number 35 in honor of Christian Okoye, the Nigerian nightmare, and the, for a short while, dominant running back for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I tell you, you know, watching Gatto today, he actually runs a lot like what Christian Okoye did as far as the power and strength.
Crowd gets into it on 3rd and 3. Favre is flushed out, will keep it and get a first down. An awkward slide, and now the head linesman gets taken out by Semino.
We got officials going down all over the place. That was a cut block on him.
The league's insurance policy is going up.
Be another strike by the officials.
Paganelli's smiling.
Want more pay? He's smiling, but he's hobbling, isn't he? I mean, and we heard him say, "You're not going to keep me out, coach."
Ron Fairs, the head linesman, is the one who was taken down on that last run by Favre.
We're going to be getting hit up here in the booth before long.
You're used to it. I'm not. Handoff. Gatto goes backward. At one point, looked like he thought about lateraling it back to Favre. A loss of 9, and Trent Cole, who doesn't have a sack today, shot through and made the stop for the Eagles.
Well, Trent Cole has really been one of the real pleasant surprises for this team, and the job that he's done, and has come on very strong. As you can see, he just doesn't quit. Initially, he was out of the play, just kept playing. And the staff says he reminds them a lot of Derek Burgess, who was here with the Eagles and is now with the Oakland Raiders.
Good player who they let go to Oakland. Second down and 19. Handoff to Fisher. Fisher brought down from behind by Patterson. Gain of only 2, and we're under a minute to go in this 3rd quarter.
You know, Mike Sherman was talking about, you know, Tony Fisher, and he really is primarily their 3rd down back, and he had an opportunity with all the other injuries, and then he had an injury of his own, and you know, he's a good blocker, he's a good receiver, but he just can't be the featured guy as far as what Mike Sherman thinks.
3rd down and 17. Martin, the tight end. 4 yards shy of a first down. Brought down by Matt Ware. And it's 4th down, and the punting unit comes on for Green Bay, but that punt will happen in the 4th quarter. We head there, 14-13, the Pack on top. Back after this from your local Fox station. Punt coming from B.J. Sanders. Last opportunity, Philadelphia took over at midfield, went 3 and out. Looking for a spark, they send Westbrook back to return the punt, and he's able to get it out to the 20. That's all. And if we came in, Troy, to the second half talking about the offense trying to open it up and getting it going, let's talk about it going into the 4th quarter here for this offense for Philadelphia. This is the last gasp of an effort to try to stay alive this year.
Yeah, I think so. And surprisingly, you know, 2 teams that have been struggling running the football are doing that very well. And then both quarterbacks are struggling. I don't know that we anticipated that Brett Favre would be struggling the way that he is, but Mike McMahon hasn't been able to get anything going. And I think whoever starts creating some big plays, we've not seen many of those, but whoever ultimately is able to create some of those is going to be the team that wins this game.
Westbrook takes it over the right side, and Bryan gets 3. You know, Mike McMahon has yet to really get his feet underneath him. We saw him last week at Giant Stadium struggle in the first half. The game was moving fast for him by his own admission. He got a good second half. He got the nod in that Monday night game, then the start last week and this week over Coy Detmer. And Detmer's still standing on the sideline while this offense tries to get rolling with Mike McMahon at the controls.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Coy Detmer has not yet had an opportunity, whether it was last week or in this game tonight.
2nd down and 7, a blitz from Green Bay, and the pass is off the hip of Westbrook. A little behind him, and Westbrook couldn't haul it in.
And the only real reason that I say that is that when I've seen Coy Detmer go into games, I've seen him play pretty good football. You know, he hasn't played a lot here in recent years, but he's got a good understanding of the offense. Now remember, the reason that the decision was made to play Mike McMahon was because he's got a stronger arm and he's more athletic, and Andy Reid said we know what we've got in Coy Detmer. So I take that to mean, well, maybe what they know what they've got in Coy Detmer isn't enough in their minds for them to win games.
3rd down and 7 out of the shotgun. McMahon in trouble and throws low. Biamila was on his back, brought him down. Another 3 and out, and Detmer may get that chance before this game is over.
Well, and KGB again with the wide split, and that forces Todd Herremans to try to be an athlete and get out on him. But with the speed of KGB on this one, he wasn't able to block him, and KGB is able to disrupt the play.
His best of the day at a good time for Philadelphia. Chapman from the 35 goes backward. Good punt, well covered by Philadelphia. Dexter Wynn made the tackle. A return of -2 yards. Green Bay has the lead and the football.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Hummer. Check out the new H3. Hummer, like nothing else. By Nike Football. By Fun with Dick and Jane, starring Jim Carrey and Téa Leone, in theaters December 21st. And by State Farm. Great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm.
30th Street Station here in Philadelphia. You have a phone down there with your name on it?
God, if I don't, I should.
Who doesn't? Don Mikowski has a phone down there with his name on it.
I think Don's down there somewhere.
Javon Curse makes the play. You wonder if that last special teams effort by Dexter Wynn covering that punt could change the tide in this game. And here's the effort by Wynn, who made the tackle on Chapman. A loss of 2 on the return. And the ball is at the 32-yard line of Green Bay, 2nd and 10. Favre bears it out. Ferguson out of his reach. Let's go for an update on Bubba Franks. Here's Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe, the latest word on Bubba Franks. The Packers had hoped they'd be able to take Franks home with them tonight on the team plane, but instead he will stay in the hospital here in Philadelphia. The Packers stress that it is just a precaution. Earlier in the game, Franks was taken off the field after suffering a terrible hit. He had some tingling sensation in his shoulders, but Franks is expected to be fine. He'll be kept in the hospital as a precaution. Back to you.
All right, Pam. So they changed that initially. They told us he would be on the trip back to Green Bay, but he'll stay over. It's 3rd and 10. Nice grab on the high snap by Favre, and it's gunned for a first down. Pass is complete to Donald Driver. An 11-yard completion from Brett Favre and a big throw from the future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and you look at these linebackers and safeties. Normally Jim Johnson would be bringing those people. I've never known him not to bring pressure in 3rd and long. It was 3rd and 10. They bail out. They only rush 4 guys, and they give Brett Favre time, and as a result of that, they convert on 3rd down. And Jim has just not been as aggressive as what he typically is.
Gatto carrying it with both arms around the football, picks up a 1.5 yards. Michael Lewis on the tackle.
And part of that, I would imagine, is because he may not have the confidence in the secondary players. I mean, you think back to some of the games. I know going back to the first Dallas game, and they would bring pressure and they'd block it up in the secondary for the first time in a very long time, were they not able to cover people. And I'm sensing that that's part of the reason why the philosophy has changed somewhat as far as Jim Johnson being much more aggressive and when he brings people.
2nd down and 8. Pump fake from Favre, and he's got nowhere to go. Patterson brings him down. 3.5 sacks on the year for the rookie Mike Patterson, 1st-round pick from USC.
You know, the one thing about it, though, it certainly helps when you're able to get pressure with your front 4, and Michael Patterson does a good job. Brett could have gotten the ball out, but he just couldn't find anywhere to get it out to. Sheldon Brown on Donald Driver, and, you know, Patterson, the rookie player, you know, has had a good rookie season coming out of USC, of course, well coached by Pete Carroll. A good job there at a critical point in the game.
It's 3rd down and 15, and the Packers will spend a timeout. Tight game here in Philadelphia. Doesn't mean anything. Time will tell if the Eagles can come from behind and start some sort of run here down the stretch. Seattle has gone ahead by 8 points at home over the Giants. The Eagles trying to be the only team this week in the NFC East supposed to win. They're down by 1. 3rd down and 15 for Green Bay.
It looks like Jim's playing coverage again on this 3rd down.
4-man rush. Underneath, it's Fisher. Tony Fisher is going to be brought down short of the 1st down. A fumble, and it's recovered by Green Bay, still a 1.5 yards short of a 1st down. And the punting unit comes on for Green Bay.
Well, I tell you, both these backs just having a hard time hanging on to the football tonight. They're fortunate to get that one back as well. Otherwise, they give Philadelphia a short field. He's got both hands on it, securing it.
And he was down anyway.
Yeah.
But it's 4th down, and Sander will punt it. And the fair catch by Westbrook, only a 28-yard punt. Philadelphia will start at their own 20, down by 1.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Hummer. Check out the new H3. Hummer, like nothing else.
Time for the Philadelphia Eagles on offense to see what they can get going from their own 20. Not much all day along the lines of a sustained drive, and they hand to Westbrook, who's just shy of the 25. The OT presented by Lowe's. Fox's football coverage does not end when the games are over. Afterwards, stick around for the OT. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy bring you extended highlights, exclusive interviews, analysis, and a look ahead to next week's action, which ought to be interesting at Giants Stadium. It's the OT presented by Lowe's coming up next on Fox.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm always wondering who Jimmy's talking to at the end of that promo.
That's a good question. Second down and 5. It's Moats, the rookie. Gets to the edge, and Ryan Moats has a first down for Philadelphia. Out at the 37-yard line, a gain of 12.
Well, again, Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker, had an opportunity to make a play. You see him right here. He's going to come up and feel the hole. He reads it very well, and he comes and plays downhill. Has a chance to make the tackle. That's the second time now that we've seen that he's had an opportunity to make a play for no gain, and he's been unable to make it.
First down for Philadelphia. Game break coming. McMahon changed the play at the line and hits his fullback. That's Perry. And that's another Philadelphia first down. Game break. Here's JB. And that's, I'm sure, one of the topics on the OT coming up. Two teams that may be tied at 7-4, hooking up next week. Westbrook going to throw it. Now pulls it down and loses 2.5, 3 yards. Papinga, the linebacker, a rookie, back there to make the stop. Westbrook was going to throw it, but wisely did not throw it into coverage.
Yeah, and the reason you know he was going to throw it is if you watch his path after he takes the handoff, he goes away from the line of scrimmage rather than attacking the line of scrimmage, and that's a dead giveaway. Of course, when you're on the other side of the ball, you can't always tell whether or not he's attacking the line of scrimmage. He was trying to go back to Mike McMahon on the route. The Packers sniffed it out right away. Good job by Westbrook not trying to force a throw.
Second down and 13, and now Westbrook has it handed to him. He's into Green Bay territory, down to the 48, picked up 7. A quarterback is an eligible receiver when he starts the play in the shotgun formation. He's ineligible if he starts the play under center. McMahon was back in the shotgun, went out on the route, but Al Harris was there for Green Bay. And after the run by Westbrook, it's 3rd and 6.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, when you're talking about the type of athlete that Mike McMahon is, I mean, that's a pretty good designed play as far as getting him out on the open field and let him run one-on-one, but he had 2 guys covering him.
3rd down and 6. McMahon fires, and the pass to the sideline is caught. First down, Philadelphia. Greg Lewis.
You know, and a lot like last week, it looks like Mike McMahon starting to heat up a little bit. This is the first time tonight that I've seen him really drop back with some confidence and knowing where he's going with the football and no wasted steps in his drop. He comes right back and delivers the ball to the sideline, and a good job. Well thrown ball.
Threw for 119 yards in the 4th quarter at the Giants last week. McMahon shows off his legs. Forced out, a yard shy of a first down by Mark Roman.
You know, it's so tough on a defense when you've got a guy like Mike McMahon who's athletic and you think you got everybody covered, and then he's able to scramble and create plays with his feet. And that's what he's able to do. They did a good job of covering up the wide receivers. And I know as a defensive coordinator, Jim Bates, you just don't know what you can do. You say we're covering them, and now we can't contain the quarterback in the pocket.
Westbrook. Looks like he has enough for a first down for Philadelphia. He does. First down for the Eagles with 6:19 and counting to play. Well, you think about the Eagles right now, Troy, and it could be the Giants and Dallas at 7-4. Washington lost today. They're 5-6. Philadelphia with a win is 5-6, and they still have a game with Washington coming up and the Giants coming up here in a couple of weeks.
They would want Dallas to beat the Giants next week and for Dallas to go on and win the division, because I don't think they can surpass Dallas. But they're going to have to play better than what they have.
McMahon fires, end zone. Brown overthrown. Covered well by Ahmad Carroll, who's had a good day today for the Packers.
I think in order for Philadelphia to have any realistic shot of getting into the playoffs, and really we probably shouldn't even be talking about it, but if they are going to get in, they've probably got to run the table, and they're going to take 10 wins. Now, if you beat Green Bay, that's great, but you're playing against a team that's 2-8 at home. It's a game you should win, and if they win this one, then they've got to host Seattle, and then that becomes another big game for them next week.
10th play of this drive. 2nd down and 10. Westbrook down to the 24. 5 yards shy of a first down, and Harriman loses his helmet at the end of the play.
You know, it's not completely outside the realm of things, though, Joe. I mean, I know from firsthand experience there are times when you're struggling as a team and you're just trying to find yourself and you don't know that you're ever going to be able to win another game, and all of a sudden you win one, and it's amazing what that'll do for your confidence and belief in what you're doing as a team. And sometimes one win can turn into 5 or 6 straight wins.
3rd down and 5 here. They're inside field goal range for Akers as they trail by 1. McMahon needs to get rid of it. Throws high but caught. McMullen is going to be dropped about half a yard shy of a first down. First things first, as McMahon was making his way backward, he was taking the Eagles out of field goal range. The completion to McMullen, and McMullen is just short of a first down.
You know, really good play by Mike McMahon, and the more I watch him, and I had not watched him play much until the last couple of weeks, it seems to me that he's a better player when you're able to get him outside the pocket and really let him use his athleticism as a quarterback to create things. And not that he's not a good pocket passer, but I just think that after having seen him now for the last couple of games, he's probably better out on the edge. And I can't imagine Andy Reid not kicking the field goal here.
He's already got Akers on the field. It's 4th down and less than a yard. But Akers, who's one of the best in the business, although his numbers this season wouldn't indicate it, he is 8 out of 13, 2 for 2 today. Will attempt this field goal, either a 37 or 38-yard try. 37-yard try here with 4 minutes 42 seconds left, and the Eagles down by 1. Good snap, good hold. Akers, good, and the Eagles lead by 2. Akers 3 for 3 today. And finally, the Philadelphia Eagles get back on top. Donovan McNabb watching and cheering. 2-point lead for the Eagles, and Brett Favre about to go back to work. Mike McMahon made a couple of good throws here on that last drive. 3 out of 4, 24 yards through the air. Akers good from 37. And the Packers are saying, here we are again. They've lost 5 games this season by 3 points or less. And in games decided by 6 points or less, they were 4-1 last year, 0-5 this year.
Well, and now the question becomes, can this Eagles defense stop the Packers? Something they've been unable to do in previous games when their own offense has scored.
Thurman takes it from inside the 10. Andre Thurman lost the football, and the Eagles have recovered. Ryan Moats, the rookie, comes away with a ball. And it was Moats who forced it.
Well, you got a chance there with over 4 minutes left in the game to get the ball back into your offense's hands with a chance to go down the field, only needing a field goal to regain the lead, and they don't even get that opportunity, and now they put the ball on the 25-yard line for this Eagles offense.
That is the 4th Packer fumble of the day. They've lost 3. And that one is a crusher here as the Eagles take over at the Green Bay 25, leading by 2. Handoff is to Westbrook. Troy, no matter what happens Giants today. Brian Westbrook answered the call. Before that carry, 104 yards on the day. He has 108 on the evening. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, has a touchdown. And no surprises here. He's going to be the focus, and he's done his job today.
Well, he's done his job, Joe. And also, how about this offensive line? We came into the game talking about left tackle Todd Hermans and Adrian Clark, and left guard Jamal Jackson. I mean, all these young players along that offensive line, and here Westbrook is having one of his better days of the year.
2nd down and 6. Keep the clock spinning as they hand to Westbrook, who is going to fight for the first down, and it depends on the spot. Looks like he's got enough for a first down. He stayed in bounds, and so you know the Packers have only 1 timeout remaining. Did you see that score flash across? The Giants got the 2-point conversion, and they've tied the game in Seattle.
It's a heck of a game going on up there in the Northwest. And it'll be a heck of a game next week as well with the Cowboys and Giants. And you know, I think when you look at the Packers right now and their year, really the turnover battle says it all. Only 3 times all season long have they won the turnover battle.
-10 on the year, -3 today. Hand off this to Westbrook, and he gains 3.
And I still believe that with these Eagles, when you talk about guys like Brian Westbrook and John Runyon, and of course Hank Fraley, he's down. The defensive guys, Javon Curse and Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, and I don't know that you can immediately say that this team's not capable of going out and putting together a bunch of victories. It's going to be exceptionally hard for them, but yet they've proven too many times to me in recent years that they're capable of doing a lot of things that don't seem possible.
The question is, can they do it without the likes of McNabb, Lito Shepherd, obviously Terrell Owens? They lose their left tackle, Trey Thomas. So the odds are stacked against them. Even if they come out of here with a win, they'd be 5-6 with a tough schedule ahead. 2 minutes left. Green Bay only 1 timeout remaining, trailing by 2. But the job this offensive line has done today with Jackson at center in place of Hank Fraley. Hicks is out at left guard. Sean Andrews at right guard. He has remained as a starter. John Runyon at right tackle. But you've got that new left side of Adrian Clark, his first start. The same for Todd Hermans, who's playing in place of the injured Trey Thomas. 3rd down and 7. 2 minutes to go. McMahon keeps it. Cole is first there for Green Bay, and down goes McMahon. Let's go for a game break here.
Time permitting, all tied, 21, 1:43 left in regulation. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, while we were gone on the game break, the Packers spent their final timeout to hold the clock at 1:52 remaining, and Akers will attempt to make this a 5-point game. It's a 33-yard try coming up. He's 3 for 3 today. Andre Thurman is left over on the bench after that fumble on that latest kick return.
Yeah, now if Akers is able to make this field goal, now when the Packers get the ball, instead of only needing a field goal to take the lead, they're going to be forced to have to go get a touchdown
without any timeouts remaining. 33-yard try by Akers. Akers, 4 for 4. He and Westbrook, the difference makers today for Philadelphia. It's been a while since the Green Bay Packers. Since then, they've gone 0-7 against Philadelphia. Their last win at the Steelers was 1970. So 10 straight losses combined in the state of Pennsylvania for the Green Bay Packers. And they're trailing here by 5 with 1:49 remaining and no timeouts.
You know, and the teams that are struggling, Joe, they always point back and they say, well, you know, we lost this game by 3 points or this game by 1 point, or you know, we're 1-5 in games decided by 6 points or less. And, you know, but that's the way this league is right now. The teams that are winning games by 3 points and 5 points and 7 points. And it seems like every week we're seeing that in Seattle this afternoon, that the games really come down to the last possession in most of these games.
Thurman is back there again despite the fumble. And he will get another shot at it. And bobbles it, hangs on, and is out of bounds at the 28. Forced out by Reno Mahe. A return of 13 yards. And here is Favre with 1:45 left. No timeouts, down by 5.
Well, generally speaking, if you're going to be in this situation late in the ball game, number 4 is the guy you'd like to have playing quarterback for you. But when you don't have all your weapons, which he certainly doesn't, then that creates a real problem.
Blitz from the Eagles. Pass short. It skips into Ferguson, incomplete. And that time Jim Johnson did dial up a blitz.
Yeah, and this is what I'm used to seeing from him. When you get into these types of games, he's going to bring people off the edges, and the idea behind that is make the ball get out quick. Bring one more guy than they have blockers, and don't allow the quarterback to set up and create any throws down the field. That time they brought it, and Favre was unable to get the completion.
2nd down and 10. Favre over the middle. The pass is dropped through the hands of Donald Driver. 3rd down and 10 with 1:37 left.
A pretty good job out on the right side. You've got Favre delivering a ball that could have been caught. And Donald Driver normally catches those. And then you watch down here as far as Javon Curse, and he's pushing Tauscher right into Brett Favre's lap. And after that was over, Tauscher was saying that Curse was getting him with hands to the headgear.
3rd down and 10. Another blitz, a high snap. Favre gets a good bounce and just airs it out. Ball is up for grabs, picked off, and that'll seal it. Roderick Hood making the start in place of the injured Lito Shepherd. And there's a penalty flag back in the area where Favre may have been hit late.
You know, that was a throw a little bit like what he made.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. 1st down.
So that just takes the ball away from the Eagles because of a late hit on Favre.
It was a tough call. That, you know, you got to be kidding me.
Oh,
you got to be kidding me. I mean, I think if you're going to make this call, you got to make sure it's legitimate. And Favre was going to the ground as he's throwing it. The hands coming in to try to make a tackle. There was no helmet to helmet. The hand was not to the helmet. The arm was more to the neck as Favre was going down. And I just think that's a horrible call.
It's called against the rookie Trent Cole, who's trying to make the play. There's no doubt Favre was hit in the helmet, but in the process of making a tackle, and that gives the ball back to Green Bay. Pass is complete to Fisher, and Fisher is into Eagles territory, a gain of 7. There's the comeback history of Brett Favre. Pass to the sideline for Ferguson, trying to get out of bounds, and he does. He has a 1st down and gets out of bounds with 1:04 left. Let's go back to the penalty on Cole.
I mean, you go back and you take a look at it, and Favre, as he's making the throw, and Cole comes in with the right arm, and I go back to it every week when there's this type of call. I just don't know what defensive linemen are supposed to do. An inherent part of playing defense is hitting the quarterback, and I don't know how an official makes that call in this situation in the game.
The Giants just missed a field goal up in Seattle to win it. They're going to overtime. This game, a 5-point lead for the Eagles as the pass is short of Antonio Chapman. 2nd down and 10 with under a minute to go.
I'll tell you, Mark Tauscher, he's got his hands full right now with Javon Curse on the outside. Curse, you know, certainly understanding that the Packers are throwing the football, and he's teeing it up right now, and he's driven Tauscher back into Brett Favre on each of the last couple of plays.
2nd down and 10. And now flags before the snap. 5 yards on the Packers.
False start, 40, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
As we wind down here in Philadelphia, time permitting, we'll get you to the overtime in Seattle between the Seahawks and Giants at the conclusion of this game. Meanwhile, we've seen Trent Cole on the bench for the Eagles. Could be his punishment for that hit, which gave the ball back to Green Bay, but Cole has been one of their best pass rushers.
Yeah, there must be something wrong because he would be in the game in this situation.
Favre sprints to his right, looks downfield, stops, airs it out. Heavy coverage in the pass, intercepted. Penalty flag comes in. It's Hood again. Ferguson, the intended receiver, and this is going to be offensive pass interference.
That's what it looked like from here, Joe, that Robert Ferguson pushed off here at the end of this play. You see the hands out, the shove on Michael Lewis, and a good call.
Pass interference, 89, offense. Penalties declined. The play results in a touchback. 1st and 10, Philadelphia at the 20-yard line.
And the play results what should be victory for the Eagles and a record of 5-6. And Hood, who uses Al Harris, the former Philadelphia Eagle, as a role model, a guy who was a nickel back until he got a chance with the Green Bay Packers, has developed into one of the better cornerbacks across the league, getting the start today in place of the injured Lito Shepherd. Has had a solid day at corner, gets the interception, and the Eagles will kneel down with 49 seconds left. We'll have one more snap. The Green Bay Packers do not have a timeout remaining, and this one will belong to Philadelphia as they snap a 4-game losing streak.
Well, it wasn't real pretty, but I think that the way that they were able to come back in the 2nd half, particularly here in this 4th quarter, and find a way to win this football game. It's been a long time since Andy Reid's had something to smile about, but he's got to feel good about the way that they were able to at least win this game. They're going to have to play better hosting Seattle next week, but this is a start.
So a record of 5-6 ties them with Washington. They'll play the Redskins at the end of the year here. Again, they've got a game in a couple of weeks coming up here against the Giants. And this will be the final snap of the day. That'll do it. The Eagles are officially 5-6. And turnovers the difference in this game. The Packers turned it over 5 times to the Eagles' 1 turnover. And a handshake between 2 good friends, Brett Favre and Andy Reid, out at midfield.
Yeah, and Mike McMahon, how about him? His first win since December of 2001. So it's been a long time for him as well.
He did enough. With a lot of help from Brian Westbrook and the left leg of David Akers. We will take you to the overtime game after our break in Seattle. The Seahawks and Giants.